I'm a grateful recovering addict called Ozzy. It's a nickname, yes. My real name is Mark Blankenship. My clean date is 6/9/14, 43 months and 10 days. It's kind of hard to believe considering I didn't even know how I could go 43 minutes before without using. Um, I'd like to start with saying that I uh, I didn't I didn't have a bad childhood. I didn't have any trauma growing up to give me a reason to become an addict. I didn't follow in anyone's footsteps. Um, you know, grew up kind of poor, but there was so much love that I never knew we were poor. So that, never presented a problem. My mom had me out of wedlock, but I had my grandfather and my uncles who filled in perfectly as father figures. Then my mom married my dad when I was 7. He adopted me when I was 8, and I could not have asked for a better father. So I really can't think of anything bad that would have created it. Traveled a lot growing up. My dad was a professional bowler, was on TV. Um, and we traveled all over doing, bowling tournaments and things. So, um, my addiction started, I started partying young, but it never presented a real problem until I I had my back surgeries. Um, which a lot of people can relate to, you know, getting pain medicine and, just if you're, people who are familiar with opiates understand that, you build up a tolerance and you constantly need to up your dose. And then, the doctors came up then with what they call breakthrough pain, where they give you pain medicine in between your pain medicine to help, with pain. So then, you're taking two kinds of pain medicine throughout the day, which just doubles up your habit. And eventually, I ended up on Oxycontins, which was one of the worst and best times that I can remember. It made my addiction worse, but it made my partying better. I went from, you know, ran the gamut of going from 20s to 40s to 80s. Then they decided to make them non-snortable. Uh, so I switched, then told the doctor that they didn't work anymore, and got Opanas, um, which was not was better, for the addiction. Um, then Ohio decided to close 60% of their pain management clinics. Um, and they didn't want to become the next Florida. So what happened is that everyone scrambled to get into the remaining ones. Well, um, you know, they filled up quickly. I called around and they told me that, to send in my file. They had no openings at the time. They would contact me when they had one, or that they would not take workman's comp. So I, being unable to work at the time and being an addict, I could not afford to support my habit by buying pills off the street. So I went to the economic turn to that so many people do now, was heroin. Um, it's, to buy a pill off the street would be anywhere from $30 to $70 for a 3-hour high, where, that same amount of money could at least keep you high for a day with heroin. But just like with any opiate, it, it always took a little more today to get well than it did yesterday. Because after a certain amount of time, you don't get high anymore. You just get well. Heroin is what I call a maintenance drug. It just keeps you well enough not to be sick from detoxing or withdrawal. To get high enough off of it, you normally just nod out, fall asleep, and wake up and wonder what you're going to do really soon to get your next high. Some people steal to support their habits. Some people prostitute to support their habits. I took the route of becoming a dealer to support my habit, which, probably wasn't the smartest move, but it was, what I had decided to do, to be able to afford my habit. Unfortunately for me, I became my one of my best customers, because eventually I couldn't get enough and then sell enough to have enough to support me. It's a very vicious cycle, because I would get what I would consider enough and say that, I would save some for, tomorrow morning, but usually 10 or 11, it was gone. And then I would lay there, wondering what I was going to do the next day, because I knew I would wake up sick, wondering what I was going to have to figure out to get more. It, it was, it, it was just, it's so hard to put into words that I was happy when I got busted. it was eye-opening because I thought that I was above and smarter than, the actual, you know, society that, frowns upon, drug addicts or drug actions. But I still didn't learn my lesson. In and out of jail, in and out of treatments. I did 5 treatments in 2 years, 5 different facilities, until I finally got it. Mindfulness, living in the now. It it just that just seemed to click. Um, the meditation, the just the thinking involved. Um, I, uh, I found what I thought was a solution, and it was. But that didn't make it any easier. Recovery is something that I have to work at every day. That shower that I took yesterday is not going to keep me clean today. And if I don't work at it, there's always that little voice in the back that tells me, my addiction speaking, that says, one more won't hurt. Or if you just, get high on the weekends, it'll be okay. Um, I, it does. One more can hurt you. We lose people every day. A month ago, I lost 7 people in 10 days. Um, I, I, I had started to quit counting, but it's just kind of overwhelming. I, um, I was in jail at one time, and I went to a meeting, and a guy was talking about the amount of clean time that he had, and I asked him, I was like, well, what do you do to do that, to have that, to keep that? And he told me, he said, when you get out of here, go to meetings, talk about your shit, and help people. And at that point in my life, I was, willing to try anything. So I thought, I'll give that a try. And ever since I started doing that, going to meetings, and if I have a problem, I talk about it. It's better than holding it in and sharing it with somebody who understands me, and then helping people. You have to give it away to keep it. And helping people has done more for my recovery than any other thing that I do. I have a lot of people to thank for pointing me in that direction. Amy from the Hope Center, who set me up with taking peer support classes, getting certified in peer support, or they call it a recovery coach also, in alcohol, drugs, and mental health in Ohio. Working with the response team in Goshen Moore on heroin. Doing H&I, Hospitals and Institutions with Narcotics Anonymous. Just, you know, giving back, it's what has made my recovery possible, and keeping it. Uh, you know, it's probably, I would have to say, the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. Um, you know, because like I mentioned before, it's an everyday thing. You know, it's a total lifestyle change. Um, you know, I had to move away from a hometown that I grew up in. I had to give up people who probably I considered friends, probably more of acquaintances, but they just were not good for my recovery. If you don't, you know, there's that saying, people, places, and things, that they're they're just, it's so true. I always say that misery loves company, and anybody in active addiction does not want to be miserable alone, and they will try to draw you back. Um, you you have to really work at wanting a new life, and you can't do it for loved ones, your parents, your wife, your husband, your children. You have to do it because you want it. Because if you don't, if you're not good, you're no good for anyone. And that is such an important thought to keep in mind. You need to work on you, and then everything else will fall in place. Um, it has for me, but I like to say that, you know, I work on myself every day because I need to stay right. I need to stay up on things. I need to understand more about addiction, because the more educated we are, the more we understand, the more tools we have to fight it and to help others. And that's very important to me, is my ability to feed in and to help people to understand, you know, because I understand their struggles. I just want to know more on the side of how I can help. I already know where they've come from. You know, I've been homeless. I've been an addict. I've lost everything. But what I do know is that it gets better. You know, there is another way of life that can give so much more. You know, I never thought through all my times of addiction that I could ever have fun, because without dope, everything that I ever did, I put dope on it. You know, good times, bad times, you know. I don't have to do that today. You know, and it's, yeah, every day is not rainbows and unicorns, you know. Um, you have to you have to learn to live life on life's terms. And there's always going to be trouble. There's always going to be some little turmoil. Um, you lose people, you know, loved ones, you know, grandparents, parents. It's just part of life. Jobs, situation, breakups, but you learn how to deal with it without putting dope on it. You learn, as humans, we want relief. We just have to learn how to get that relief without being mind altered, to find peace inside. Um, Whether it's pain from anything, physical, mental, um, there's there's there are things out there that are very rewarding that don't involve alcohol or drugs. You know, I can actually say I have more fun today doing some of the things that I do without having to put anything on them. Um, Things that are rewarding, helping people. To it's attraction rather than promotion, where I can show someone that there is a better way, and then for them to find that and then continue that and then to give it away themselves, it's very rewarding. Um, Being able to be here today to tell my story, um, if it could only touch one person, that's one more person that has a chance to touch someone else. And if we can continue to just do that one person at a time, maybe we can slow down this epidemic that we're living in. Um, we're losing a generation that, once people are gone, they can't ever come back. We can't ever find out what they could have been, what they could have done. Um, it's kind of sad to me. Um, who you never know if someone would have been the next Einstein or the next Edison, the next Bill Gates. Who knows? Steve Jobs, whatever. There's, once someone's gone, their potential is gone. Um, I just think about the people that are gone, but I can't dwell on that when I have to think about the people that we can save. And that's part of the reason I'm here, just to reach out. I make myself available 24/7. Um, it was a little harder scheduling. This was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to schedule in a while. I can be out helping someone, on a cold, dark night, but finding time to come in here seemed a little harder. But I just want people to know that there is hope. You just have to reach out. Everybody has a different rock bottom, and with you know addicts, we want that instant gratification. We want to be recovered. I don't want recovery. I want to be well now, and it doesn't work like that. Recovery's hard. Recovery is work, but it is so worth it. Um, and whenever you're ready, there are programs out there. Um, there it's more and more treatments facilities are opening. I know, some of it's bad, but you know what? There's always No matter what you do in life, there's good and bad. Even when you're in active addiction, you get good dope, you get bad dope. Good people, bad people, you know, but you weed through that. And you know what? It's there are good people out there to help you when you're ready. You just have to seek that. And whenever you're ready, just reach out, let someone know. Someone will let someone else know, and then, walk into a meeting. Tell someone, I'm tired of this life. I need help. Someone will get you some help. Um, I don't have a lot to say because I found the solution, and I know a solution is there. And it's strictly up to the individual. If you want it bad enough, you know, if you would chase your recovery like you chase dope, my God, if you only chase your recovery half as hard as you chase dope, you can make it. Period. I mean, that's all there is to it. Whenever you're ready, put half that effort that you do every day, waking up, trying to get well, into just staying well. One day you can be sitting in this seat.